Surprise, the boopy music is back. I borrowed that word from Jonathan because I saw he said that in the chat. Ooh, the boopy music is back. I will give credit to one of you out there. You know who you are. I got a lovely package from you, and there was a wonderful letter in there, and you wrote all these great things. And you said, the only thing I don't like about your channel is the new music. I liked the old live music. So I was like, all right, one of these days I'll change it back. So this is me changing it back. I just did. You're welcome. Really, the song had changed from this to something else because when my computer came back from the shop, I couldn't find the files and I was hard pressed to get everything up and running before we had our live stream that night. So I just grabbed something at random. I thought it was cute, but you guys really like this one. And if I'm honest, I like that song better too. All right, so it is January 2026, which means we are working on our January Sew Along project. If you don't know what we're doing, make sure to check out in the description box down below. There is a link to the pattern. We are working on a pattern called Star Cabins. This is from Center Street Quilts, and I am loving this. This is one that's been on my bucket list for a little while. So we are breaking this down every Friday in January. We're going to work on this quilt a little bit at a time. So in week 1, we did all of our cutting. In week 2, which is this week, we're going to be making the stars that will go in the center of all of these blocks. I feel like a real teacher. I've got my packet here. We'll be making the stars that go in the center of these blocks. Next week, we're going to turn those stars into log cabin blocks. And then after that, we're going to assemble the quilt. And then actually there's 5 weeks in January. So that 5th week, we're going to do a long arm run. I've already talked to Ian. He has agreed to be here with me that night. It's just easier for me to run the long arm on a live stream if I've got another set of hands here. So Friday, the last Friday in January, this quilt top will be loaded onto the long arm. We'll run it and we'll have a little chat and we'll talk through the entire thing. I'll try to stay on for the entire run, but I will probably have the quilt loaded before the live stream starts. Before we get into tonight's project, I want to talk a little bit about announcements. I always like to start my live streams with announcements. That way, if you're only here for a little bit, you can just catch the top to get caught up on everything, and then you can go on about your merry day. So a couple of things. Number 1, if you haven't signed up already, there is an FPP virtual class, a studio session we're calling it, that I am teaching next week on Saturday, January 17th. I will be teaching you how to do FPP with a pattern that I have drawn up. You'll be getting that pattern sometime this week. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, it's on my website. Please go check it out. Speaking of studio sessions and classes that you can take, I have partnered with Holly Quilt Shop. They are offering a 4-month block of the month series. It is to make a table runner, and they have asked me to instruct it. So I will be teaching that over Zoom. You can attend in person at Holly Quilt Shop. If you are in the area, just go over to Holly Quilt Shop and get the tickets there. Or if you want to attend that virtually, you are welcome to do that as well. There are links to those classes on my website. So all of that stuff is on my website. Feel free to sign up for what you want. You will have to get the pattern for that class. It is not included with the purchase, I think. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at info@sewbecca.com and we'll set you straight. Speaking of, just a reminder, I've realized that some of my social media was still pointing emails to becca@sewbecca.com. I know definitely in the description box for older videos it's doing that. So please just make sure you're updating all of your contacts for me. It should be info@sewbecca.com. Use that to send anything you want over to me. And then the last announcement I have is actually for tomorrow. So we see Katie for the Greenland Quilters in the chat. I will be joining her tomorrow. We're going to do a 2-month series. So this Saturday, tomorrow, and then Saturday, February 7th, I'll be joining her for a couple hours on her live stream where we work through a little bit of FPP as well. So feel free to pop over and just sew with us if you'd like to. I think Katie can just type !selfie in the live chat and it'll drop a link to her channel so you guys can bookmark that and join us tomorrow. 4:30 to 6:30, I think is what we said. So somewhere around there. I see a couple questions in the chat, so let me just reiterate what we're doing. This is Actually, I'll just go ahead and go to the top camera. This is the pattern that we are working from this month. It is called Star Cabins. The link for this is in the description box down below, and you can also find it in the live chat because my sister has just linked to it. It is from Center Street Quilts. Essentially, we're going to be making star blocks and turning those into log cabins. Last week, week number 1, I did the cutting, most of it on camera, and then this week, I will be making the star blocks. In week 3, we're going to transform the star blocks into log cabins. And then in week 4, we're going to put the quilt top together. Week 5, we're going to quilt it. So we should have a fully finished, pieced, and quilted quilt by the end of January. So I don't need my instructions too much tonight. So we'll probably just set these aside. I've got a little, whatever this thing is, a little easel that I can put my pattern on. I'm just going to set it here out of reach, but with the page of instructions opened so that I can glance to it if needed. Ah, I found you. Assembling the star blocks. Okay, let's jump right into let's jump right into a teachable moment, shall we? Last week, I was telling you as I was cutting my fabric that I had to cut some really long sections, some really long widths. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do the big pieces over at my cutting station because I didn't want to mess it up. And so obviously you can see I did cut all of my fabric, but I made a boo-boo. So we should have pieces that are separated by 2 inches, right? So this would be one number, and then this is 2 inches bigger, 2 inches bigger, 2 inches bigger, 2 inches bigger. So tell me why this last pile that's supposed to be 2 inches bigger than this is here. I cut too short. Fortunately, I can recover from that, and let me show you what I'm doing. I did not throw any of my little scraps away. I try to keep all of my scraps, even little tiny pieces, from a fabric line until a quilt top is fully pieced. And this is exactly why. I have a process that I call Franken growing my fabric. And that's just an instance where the fabric is not as big as I need it to be. So I'm going to surgery it. I'm going to do a little surgery. So I am taking all of these leftovers and sewing them onto the ends of these pieces. I've already measured that should give me my 2 inches off to the right. And when this quilt is all, well, that one might be a little tight, but I think I have even a little bit more here. So we'll figure it out. But this should give me exactly what I'm looking for. Fortunately, we've got another week to recover from this because next week we'll be doing the log cabins. This week we're not. So we're just going to set that fabric aside. I am going to be working with these fabrics tonight because I'm making my star blocks. I did try to go through and label everything A, B, C, D, E, whatever, but it just started getting really confusing for me. These are pretty easy to figure out. I have my background rectangle, my background squares, my star center square, my star corner squares, like my star squares, big and small. These are going to serve 2 purposes. And then I've got my background fabric, my squares, and my rectangles. And between all of that differentiation, I should be able to show you exactly what we're doing. So I would have loved to have a star already pieced for you, but guess what? I don't. So we're going to do our first star together. I'm going to walk you through step by step what that looks like. And then once that's done, we'll just have a bit of time catching up with one another. Oh, look, this one didn't cut all the way through. We'll have a bit of time chatting with each other and hanging out and maybe even seeing a little bit of what you guys have been working on. And Katie did mention in the chat that you should be able to download the pattern from a link that she has in the description box. So make sure you check out that video. All right, so the first thing that I need to do is make some flying geese units. My sawtooth star block is going to need 4 of these flying geese units. So I'm going to pull out 4 rectangles of my background fabric and 2 squares of my star. And I'm going to do that 4 times. Then I'm going to go back over here and get my handy dandy ruler that a handy dandy left behind. a marking utensil, and I'm going to come in on each one of these 8 squares. Oh, that's 2 pieces. I only need 1. I'm going to draw a line from one corner to the other on the wrong side of my fabric. Now, because I'm working with solids, there isn't really a wrong side, so I can do whichever side I'd like. I am drawing from one side to the other. Now, if your star is a dark fabric and you can't see the marking from your pen, there are other utensils, marking utensils that you can use out there, like a Choco pen, which is just a little like retractable blade type of thing, and it has chalk dust in it, and it leaves chalk dust in its wake, so that can be used for the backside of some dark fabric. I've also heard some people using soap slivers to mark their dark fabric. I've heard people using chalk pencils. There are a number of different things that you can do. It's kind of hard to find a pen that writes white that you will use on fabric. So all right. Once we have all of these marked, then I'm going to take 4 of them and all 4 of my rectangles. And I'm going to come over to my sewing machine and move my mouse out of the way. I'm going to come over to my sewing machine and I'm going to pair up one of the rectangles, I'll show you in the overhead over here, with, oh wow, Mine sent a little bit of money. She said just a bit of pocket cash for the upcoming Tricked Rally. Thank you so much. I appreciate that tip. I will save it for QuiltCon. Oh, and Janny just sent $1.99 as well. Thank you so much, Janny. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to take the square and the rectangle and I'm going to put them right sides together. Now, again, because I'm working with solids, there isn't really a right side. I'm just going to make them work. For this, I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine. I'm going to make sure that that line is coming from the bottom corner and going up to the middle. For me, it doesn't really matter how I orient that because honestly, this is solid fabric. There's no right side up or right side down. But if you were working with directional fabric, you'd want to make sure that this is coming up in the middle at the top of your fabric. I'll take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch, let me show you with my point here. I'm going to stitch just one thread to the right of this line. So I'm going to put it in my machine so that this piece is off to the right and this is on the left of my presser foot. I'm going to have my needle right next to this line. That's going to allow me a little bit of extra space for the thread that I'm going to add in. So when I flip it over, I should have a perfect unit. Now, if flying geese are your nemesis, I have a solution for you. One will cost you money. The other one will just cost you fabric. If you are not intimidated by FPP, I have a pack of basic blocks for half square triangle units, flying geese, and square and a square blocks. You can buy those packs on my website for $6 a piece. Alicia will drop the link to the website in the chat, so if you want to check that out, please feel free. That one costs you money, but you can print those out, use them as many times as you'd like. The other thing that you can do is just make it bigger and then square it down. So if you're trying to make a flying geese unit that's going to measure, let's say 2.5 by 1 1/4, I don't know, I'm making it up. Add an extra 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch to all of the sizes, put it together, and then square it up. See if that works for you. When I'm making flying geese, I always try to do this so that I'm working on one side of the flying geese first, because what's going to happen is I'm going to get, yeah, we'll put this here. I'm going to get the second wing put on, and when I do, I'm going to stitch through this piece that I just put on. So I like to sew all of one side on, trim all of those pieces for that side, press all of them, and then come back and do the other side. Okay. For this, you can trim it using a pair of scissors. You can use a rotary cutter, whatever works for you. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors because I bought some new Karen K Buckley scissors and I'm loving these. I bought 3 sizes. I got this one, I got the big ones, and I got the pretty little ones. And I just want to use the scissors tonight. So no rhyme or reason to what I'm using other than this is what I want to play with. These scissors are really nice. I'm usually a Kai girl, but these were very affordable. I think Kai's affordable too, though. I don't know, whatever. You get the picture. Aw. Now we get a $20 chat for Alicia at Quilt Con. You guys are going to give her a little bit of an ego. Okay, once all of those are done, I'm going to take this over to my iron and I'm going to press this piece out just like that. While my iron is heating up, I'm just going to put my finger in between the 2 layers, push that over and give that seam a nice crease. Then once the iron's heated up, I'll just put a hot dry iron on top of that. Please do more bag tutorials. You know what? For a $1.99 super chat, I think I will. I haven't done a bag tutorial in a while, have I? You guys, if you have, like literally, we take suggestions. So if there's something you want to see me do a series on or a one-off video on, email info@sobecca.com and we'll get it onto the list for future content considerations. Sounds like one of the things that needs to be on the list is a bag tutorial. Alicia's coffee habit and award-winning towels. You guys are so funny. Once my flying geese are made, this just kind of goes together like a 9-patch. Super, super easy. So now I'm going to take the time to do some assembly line prep, and that's just where I line up all of my fabric the way I want it to be when I take it to the machine and sew it, so that I don't have to fiddle-faddle with it. I can just keep putting it in the machine and sew and sew and sew and sew. One thing that I do want to point out is the flying geese unit should produce a triangle in the middle of our block. So we're making sure that the line that is drawn on the back side of our fabric is starting in the other lower corner and coming up to the middle at the top. So just make sure that they're intersecting, they're crossing over each other. It might feel wrong if you're a new quilter to see them overlap like this, but what's happening is when you stitch on top of those pieces like that, you're creating a point at the top of your black fabric that is a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the fabric. And that will allow the point to be, hopefully, still in your finished project when you sew it into the overall block or project or whatever you're going to do with it. Okay. Wait, you missed the captions. Are the captions not working? They should be. Can somebody please double check and see if they can turn on closed caption while the live stream is going? It should be. Aw, thank you so much for the tip. Quilting Chaplain sent $9.99 in and said $5 for Becca and $4.99 for baby sister. You know she's going to show up at QuiltCon and have her hand out and be like, listen, all of these folks wanted to give me money. How many fat quarters do I get to buy? Captions are unavailable. That's weird because they are set up to turn on automatically. So there must be an outage on YouTube. Sorry about that. Lady Fairdonna says, do you have a link for the scissors? I will get a link. Alicia, can you drop a link for the Karen K. Buckley scissors? There are a variety of sizes. You can pick the size that you like, but we'll just get you one link to the product and you can go from there, and then we'll add it to the description box for those that are watching on the replay. Margot says, hooray for a Friday Live. I'm back from a snow globe Christmas in Bloomingdale, New York, and ready to get back to sewing. We're happy you're back with us. What are you working on tonight? I'm curious, how many people are doing this sew along with me? I know not everybody is working on the same quilt, but I'm curious to know how many of you are. Put a heart in the chat if this is a project that you are doing with me, either on replay or any part of the month of January. Are you going to work on this project? Hey, Ken. He says, I am. Hello, Ken. All right, while I am waiting for those hearts to roll in. Oh, Zaza bought the other pattern, so she's going to be working with us next month. Awesome. So now that my flying geese are put together, I'm going to arrange them so that the triangles are always pointing to the center. Then I'm going to take my star fabric, which is the center, and I'm going to put that in the middle. And then I'm going to take my black squares and I'll put these in the four corners. And that's going to give me, for my quilt, it's going to give me a black and white star. You can see it starting to come together. When I sew this together, what I like to do is sew these in rows of 3, and then I press the seams a specific way. For this, I'm going to press the middle in towards the middle, and then the outsides, the top and bottom row, out away from the flying geese unit. And that's going to allow each of these rows to have seams going in opposite directions, which is going to help those seams nest and be a little bit cleaner. Might not be perfect, but it'll be a better attempt than not doing that. Karen says, while I am sewing, I am not working on your project. I am finishing a UFO. Hey, that is totally fine. Listen, we are just here for the company. You work on whatever project you want to work in. If you happen to be working on the same one that I'm working on, great. Otherwise, just consider this a weekly virtual sewing bee. Totally fine by me. As I'm sewing the pieces on, I am just finger pressing them to kind of get them nudged in the right direction, and then I'll convince them with my iron. Oh, Quilting Chaplain says, I have a sinus and ear infection. Don't feel like sewing lately, but I am hoping that I'll just get some done this weekend. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. There's something going around, isn't there? It's just not great. The medium. What about the medium? Oh, you're making the medium, Bill? See, listen, I ask questions and then 30 seconds later, the answers come in and I have no idea what you're talking about. But you might not even be talking to me, so that's fine too. I want to point something out to you as I'm sewing this flying geese on. This is a little tip for some of you beginners out there. When I'm sewing this on, when I'm sewing the flying geese unit onto my square, I like to do it with the flying geese up on top. She is so out of touch. I like to do it with the flying geese up on top because you'll see right here, I've got the seams, the threads from the seams are crossing and it's making an X right here. When I sew right along here, as long as my needle stays just one thread to the right of this X intersection, then I'm going to keep my point and I won't have to worry about having a lost point in the project. Oh, what size scissors? Yeah, these were the medium. These are the small. These are the large. I don't remember. I think this is a 7.5, 5.5, and 3.5, I think, but don't quote me on that. I eventually do catch on. And instead of cutting my leader and ender, I'm just going to use the next piece that I need to take a seam for as my leader and ender. Then I'll cut these off. I will continue building onto this with my next flying geese. Again, I'm going to put these right sides together and I'm going to sew with the flying geese on top so that I can keep that point. Put him on the payroll. There is no payroll. Payroll is my extreme gratitude. Will that work? All right, we pressed the top one out. So I'm going to press the middle in like so. Press the middle into the middle. And then now I'm going to bring, actually, no, we're just going to put the top and bottom row together instead of using the leader and ender. Just like this. Now I have to use the leader and ender. The seams on the block, you can press it whichever direction the fabric wants to go. Press it open, press it to one side, whatever your little heart desires. It's not going to really matter because what we're going to be adding around this block are actually long strips of fabric to turn it into our log cabin block. So it's entirely up to you. It doesn't matter. You're going to need to make these star blocks, one for each block that's in your quilt. So if you're making the throw size like I am, I made a boo-boos. Let me just show you what I did. I was too busy talking and not paying attention. Do you see what the problem is? Maybe you don't yet, so let me open it up. Does my block look right to you? It doesn't. The triangle is not pointing to the middle, so I need to pull that seam out, and I'm going to show you how I use my seam ripper. I liked, if the seam's already partially ripped like this, great. I'm going to take the seam ripper, put it in here, and I'm just going to glide that right along the seam. Boom, done. Now we're going to put it on here in the right direction. I knew that that was a problem because when I got to the middle of the flying geese block, there was no X intersection for me to keep my eye on because it wasn't on the seam, it was towards the middle of the block. How's Ruby sounding tonight? She got a bit of a spa day before the live stream. New needle, new grease, new oil, all the things new. Okay, I'm not going to be using my cutting mat so much tonight. So, oh, I dropped those. I will have to pick them up. I'm going to try to set this up so that I have a pressing station, because that's mostly what I'm going to be working with tonight. Bring this in. Now I'm going to press this. I am going to use, just to demonstrate it, I'm going to use this Acorn Easy Press pen. I'm going to draw a line of starch with this pen on top of my seams once the block is all put together. I could starch the whole thing if I wanted to. There's a million different ways to get a block flat. Then I'm going to bring my hot iron in, and I'm just going to press it on here. Now, the difference between ironing and pressing, you pick it up, you set it down, and you don't move it. Ironing is doing this. This is pressing. The reason why this is important is because if you start ironing, you could stretch out the fabric or cause it to get a little misshapen. So I usually like to press, but it looks like I'm ironing on camera because you can't really see, right? So what I'm usually doing when it looks like I'm moving my iron is lifting the pressure by like a centimeter off of the fabric and then moving that around. So don't feel like I'm giving it a good iron. I'm not. So there is my block. I'm going to need 16 of these, or if I were making a super big quilt with 30 blocks, I'll need 30 of them. I have to have one for each one of the blocks that are going to be in the project. So now that I've shown you how I make my flying geese units, my next step is just to find a way to streamline the entire process. So let's see if we can find a way to make these a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficient. You are welcome to do it that way if you'd like to. You can't have wonky stars. Free Spirit says you can't have wonky stars. I saw you guys saying that Ruby sounded nice. Thank you for that. I dropped all the little extra bits that I got to sew onto the fabrics. So there we go. Also, there is one more step that you can do to get those seams super flat, and that's where you can use a clapper to just rest on top of your seam while it's cooling. Becky Mendoza says, late to the live, but love a star block. Makes me nervous, but boy, do I want to sew along. Listen, here's the thing. Try it. Try it. If your points aren't great or it's a little wonky, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Because at the end of the day, you're never going to get better at anything unless you try. You have to practice this. You have to practice anything that you want to get good at. So star blocks, if they are your nemesis, try them. And if it's not working, get up, walk away, do something else, and then try again later. But you've got to keep working on it in order to get what you're looking for. Now, I say all of that, and curved piecing is my nemesis. And do you see me over here working on it? No. So I'm preaching to the choir, kind of. Leanne says, it's like Nike, just do it. That's right, Leanne, that's right. All right, so to streamline this, there are a few things that I could do. I could take all of these and a pen and draw a line on the backside of each one of these squares. That's time consuming and ain't nobody got time for that. So let's find a different way. There are a number of different notions out there that you can use to help with this. Some people just go ahead and cut this in half and then like a 1/4 inch away from the diagonal. And what that would look like is when I draw this 1/4 inch, or I'm sorry, when I draw this line from one corner to the other, I would be cutting a 1/4 inch away from that drawn line. And what that will allow me to do is sew using the cut edge to be the exact 1/4 inch, and I don't have to worry about it. I could do that in mass, definitely, very easily. The other, because I can cut through multiple layers all at once. The other thing that I can do is use some diagonal seam tape. So this is just a washi tape, which is paper-based. It's like a very weak version of painter's tape. This has got 3 marks on it, and I want to talk to you about what those marks are. First, we have a red line down the center and then a black line on the left and a black line on the right. And so we're going to install this on our machine by bringing it over here. I'm going to lift my needle up, pull this out, and I'm going to put the tape under here. I just lightly touch it so that it's under the foot. And I'm going to test to see if when I put my needle down, is that needle going directly through that red line. I can see I'm just a little bit to the left of the red line, so I'm going to move this over, and now I'm smack dab right on top of it. Once I'm sure that that's in the right place, then I can just rub the tape down. I'm obviously going to tear it off so that it is not over top of my feed dog, so I only really need this to be right up to my presser foot. I don't want to over my feed dogs because my feed dogs should be doing their job. And if I've got them covered up or hidden away, they're not going to do me no good. So now that that's there, what I could do if I so choose is take, hi, could I please not put the stuff away that I'm using? That would be great. I can take one of my rectangles and one of my squares, put them right sides together with no marks, but watch this. I'm going to bring it over to my sewing machine. I'm going to take this point and put it on the under the needle on that red line, and this point down here will be on the red line towards me. And as I'm allowing the feed dogs to pull this in, I am going to make sure that this point stays on that red line on my diagonal seam tape. That diagonal seam tape, the two lines that are on either side of the red, those are exactly 1/4 inch. So if you ever need to do like flying like 2 at a time half square triangle units and you're not stitching down the middle but 1/4 inch on either side, that's where you'll line up the points on the black lines instead of the red. But because we're doing stitch and flip, we're going to use the red line. I saw Donna just popped into the chat, and I want to remind everybody that I don't remember the exact date because I can't remember any details. She is doing a year-long sew-along over on her channel. So you can type in Donna or Ying, I think it is, and I'll get you a link to her channel. The series will be starting off very soon, and I will be doing 2 blocks in that series. One will be out in April, and then the other will be out in November. But there's a number of other content creators that are participating in that. So if you want to know more about it, hop over to Donna's channel and check out her videos. All right. So now that I've got that, I can just keep going until these are all done. I know that I'm going to need 4 flying geese for each one of my star blocks. And I know I also have that number of square or rectangles already cut. So I don't have to think through anything. I can just pick up, line up, and stitch. And that's what I'm going to do now. It doesn't matter whether I'm assembling to the right or to the left. It just matters that I'm assembling to one of the sides and I'm keeping the point of the square down here that's closest to me right on that red line as the fabric is pulling through into the machine. Oh, thank you, Free Spirit. She said, you are very good at explaining things precisely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sherry says, I am hesitant to use any kind of adhesive on my featherweight machines. It still has its original finish and I don't want to damage it. I think you'll be okay with the washi tape, but I could understand the hesitation. Hey, John. John from Art East is here, you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks, Donna. She dropped her link in the chat so you guys can find out more about that sew along. Don't forget, if you are a content creator here on YouTube and you want to promote yourself, please feel free. It's a great big space and there's room for all of us. So just type !selfie in the chat. That will drop a link to your YouTube channel. And people, if they choose, can bookmark it for later. Go check out your content. If they like what they see, they can hit that subscribe button. The link doesn't work. Can somebody test the link for Donna? Click on it. Alicia, can you click on it, see if it works? If not, can you get the right one? Or are you talking about the link for, I don't know. Which link are you talking about, Zaza? Alicia's here. She can troubleshoot it. I'm just going to sew. In fact, let's have some Ruby time. I'm just going to quiet my voice and we're going to listen to, oh, okay, the bot might not be on. We'll take care of that later. I'm going to stop talking for just a few minutes, and we're just going to listen to the purr of Ruby as she's sewing these flying geese for me. I do want to highlight that Jane is asking, has anyone ever used the laser light to sew diagonal seams? I know a few people that actually have done that. So they love it. I've even bought one and given it as a gift. I don't have one for myself. I actually bought one for myself and gave it as a gift. And then I bought another one for myself and somebody wanted it, so they bought it for me and I just haven't replaced it. So there's that. I'm going to take a look at Streamlabs really quick and see if the bot is just turned off, and if it is, if we can turn it on so you guys can drop that selfie command. Just give me 1 second. Doobie doobie doo. I am clicking. We're not hearing the sound of Ruby singing. I don't have any other words for that song. I don't know what to... Okay. Continue, please. Every so often it loses its authentication with my channel and I have to go in and re-log in, and surprise, the cloud bot is on. Let me see, is exclamation selfie working? Yeah, it's there and it's turned on. All right, I'm gonna turn the bot off and back on, and then you guys can try it again. Okay, it's off. And now it's back on. So there you go. And I'm just going to put my chat back where it was so that I can see it. All right, there we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, still doesn't seem to be working. All right, guys, I'm not going to troubleshoot that now. I'll add that to the list of things to look at. If you want for tonight, if you want your channel shared, I apologize. I'm going to ask you to come back next week. Chris Click is here and says, hi, I finally caught a live. Hello, welcome to the virtual sewing bee. I'm going to put my microphone right here so you can hear Ruby nice and clear. John says, Ruby can put me to sleep in the best way. It's hypnotic, isn't it? Especially as quilters. I feel like as quilters, the sound of the machine is especially soothing. And then being able to see all of these angles, you're seeing me at the machine, you're seeing the fabric go through the needle of the machine, and then you're seeing the overhead of what's coming off. It's kind of a satisfying sew, right? I'm hoping that you can still hear me talk a little bit when I set it down on the machine, but really the goal is I don't have anything else to share. I already showed you how to do this. I want to chat with you, but right now I'm just going to sew, and we're going to let Ruby, who's the real star of the channel, talk to you for a little while. Oh, Alicia. Listen, I see the whole chat going on. I see all of you. Alicia's saying that I wish I was cool enough to be in the chat with us. Listen, I'm watching. I'm watching. I'm reading. Hey, Deb, thank you so much for being on YouTube Perks for 15 months. I appreciate you. Speaking of Deb, I feel like I saw your name on the backside of some hexies that I sewed together recently. Marjorie's asking, Becca, do you also make 4 at a time? I have done that. Typically, I'll do it off camera though, for off camera projects. I tried to do an instructional video for that in my Block of the Month series for 2025. I feel like it was the Dutchman's Puzzle block. Oh, Susan's been here for 12 months. Thank you so much. I feel like it's the Dutchman's Puzzle block from the 2025 Quilt Along. And I feel like I broke people's brains. No, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. So I went back to that pattern, which I had originally released only doing the 4 at a time method. And I added an addendum to the pattern so that you can make the block using the traditional 1 at a time way, the stitch and flip way. Yes, Alicia, I am chain piecing. Chain piecing is when you are sewing pieces together and you are not cutting thread in between those pieces. You are just letting them all stay together so that you have something that looks like garland. Oh, we need to get those Zoom links updated. Alicia, can you remind me to do that this weekend? I will forget if somebody doesn't write it down. They will be on the last Sunday of the month, each month in this year. And they will be posted on the website for VIP members. And of course, we'll email them out to you a week before, but we got to generate those links. I got so spoiled at I had all of the ones for 2025 already generated and posted. I just got out of the rhythm of realizing that I had to do it. So we'll get all of 2026 posted soon. Call me Cinderella. Okay, Cinderella. Cinderella, Cinderella, every day it's Cinderella. Do the dishes. I feel like my hand keeps getting in the way of the shot when I do that. Good night, Josh. Thanks for stopping in for a bit. See you in Raleigh. Alicia put in the chat that we should play a game next time she visits. Alicia goes shopping in Becca's stash. I feel like you do that anyway. Emerald says, I was just about to say, you're too quiet, Becca, then boom, you're talking. Well, we were letting Ruby do most of the talking for a little bit there because she's just the sound of her is so hypnotizing. It's very, very melodic. Is that the right word? It's just very soothing. Ah, Georgianne is here from near Holly, Michigan. Hello. Have you been to the Holly Quilt Shop? My sister lives in Holly. All right, last square and last rectangle, so last square for the one side. And then I get to do mass trimming, mass pressing, and repeat for the other side. Look at all this. This is where my little tool that Mary bought for me comes in handy. Wait, is Holly about to be the new Hamilton? No, not quite. Not quite. Oh, you lived in Clarkston. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to go through and chop these. This tool has a little notion that was handmade by an artisan who's local. He does not have a website, but the Blade Saver thread cutters from Purple Hobbies, yes, from Purple Hobbies does this exact same thing. And if you go to purplehobbies.com and you use the code SOBECCA, you get 20% off everything on their website. She's got some really pretty colors. You can get them in a bunch of different colors. So what this does is it has a blade inside of here. And when I've got chain piecing like this, I just do this very quick motion that literally just cuts those couple of threads, and so I can get through all of this really easily. Now I could use a pair of scissors or a pair of snips, but maneuvering the snips and the fabric can be a little bit tricky. So this I find is a lot easier. It does move around a little bit. There's nothing on the bottom, but I could take a hot glue gun and put a couple dots on the bottom of this to make it anti-slip. Oh, you live in Clarkston. Got it. I haven't bought my tickets yet, but I'm looking at the prices for the flights. I will be in Michigan in March. I believe the plan is right now, though we are still finalizing the details, so more to come. I believe there will be an in-person class at Holly Quilt Shop, so more to come on that. And if not, I'm just going to have a wonderful weekend with my sister and go to A&W. And not bring any of my fabric, but I might raid hers. All right, all of these have been the thing done. Now my next step is to trim a 1/4 inch away from the line that I just sewed. So I'm just going to sit here and cut. The bigger scissors I use, the less times I'll have to open and close the scissors. So I'm going to go for my bigger pair because I'd like to be able to get that entire cut in just one squeeze. Ow, I pinched my finger with the handles, but like that. I am going to do a giveaway. It's a mystery giveaway. I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like since I have this open, Mary's not here, so we'll do this for me. Like, I'll run it. We're going to do a mystery giveaway. So let me go to the giveaways, and I'm going to start a giveaway. There. How do you feel about the 8 at a time method? I've never tried the 8 at a time method. Shar says Monday was her birthday. Happy birthday! I have 2 scrap bags that'll likely be part of the giveaways. Maybe we'll do a third, but I am going to do 2 giveaways at least tonight for scrap bags, and then the third might be something different. So you guys are probably going to get a scrap bag from me. I'll let you know that I know at least one of the scrap bags has some full-size fat quarters in there. I have a bin, a lovely basket that my husband bought for me. It's rather large. It sits on the floor over here next to my sewing machine. And as I create scraps or procure fabric that I don't want to keep, I put it in that bin. And then when the bin gets full, my daughter comes in and just takes all the stuff that's in there, because it's all stuff that I want to get rid of, and she puts them in poly envelopes and seals them up. So I don't even know what's inside each bag. And then when I'm ready to give away a scrap bag, I just pull one at random, put an address label on it, and send it off. So whoever is getting that package of scrap fabric is a surprise to you and a surprise to me. It truly is a mystery. Could be some kaffe, could be some tula, could be some salads. It could be some 108 remnants. Who knows? You'll notice, for those of you that are new, when I'm cutting, I'm not measuring. I'm not measuring how far away I'm cutting, because it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that I'm leaving a bit of fabric to the right of that line that I stitched, so that the stitch will stay in, the seam will stay there. So you kind of see this way about how far I'm cutting. I'm estimating, I'm eyeballing about 1/4 of an inch, but if it's a little bigger or a little smaller, that's fine. You just don't want to cut right next to or right on that line because then the fabric won't stay together. Now, all of these, somebody out there that's glutton for punishment could absolutely, if they wanted to, save these and sew half square triangle units, but you know what I'm going to do with them? Throw them away. You can complain if you want to, but this is my fabric and my sewing room, and I'm empowering myself to say goodbye, sir. Susan says she got a block sewn, 10 more to sew, but not tonight. I feel ya. Now, before I do the next step, I am going to have to open up each one of these little flaps. I'm just going to finger press them. I don't need to heat press. That's just an extra step that I would be taking. And honestly, it's not needed. I just need to get this white flap out of the way. So I see Norma saying, do it. I just need to get that white flap out of the way so that I can put the piece onto the other side. Lori, happy early birthday. Looks like she'll be celebrating a birthday soon. Margot says, yeah, I'm like, bye-bye. Not Jonathan says, if you all just saw how much fabric I threw away this week. Diane says, toss those bad boys. I did. I did. This is time consuming. But once I'm done with this tonight, all of my flying geese will be made and I can just make the star blocks. So what I will probably do on the live stream tonight is just finish up my flying geese and then we'll call it a night after that. So I've still got a little while we'll be here. But the homework is going to be to take the flying geese and the other pieces and make the rest of my star blocks. So when I come back to you next week, I should have 16 star blocks all pieced and ready to go so that we can start turning those into some pretty log cabins. Ba, 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 ba. Deb says, I celebrate the 41st anniversary of my 29th birthday on January 29th. I love the way you think. This year is a milestone birthday for Ian. Anybody want to take a guess how old he turns this year? Oh, you guys all know. Jonathan said 20. Everybody else is saying 40. Oh, look. Grandma said 30. All right, all right. Somebody said 50. Oh my gosh. Yep, yep, it's 40. He's turning 40 this year, which is exactly 10 years younger than my husband. Jason turns 50 this year. What? It's a big milestone birthday. So I asked him, I was like, what do you want to do for your birthday? It's your 50th birthday. I feel like we should do something big. He never does anything for himself. And he was like, no, we don't have to do anything. It's fine. It's fine. I was like, no, we're doing something. So his birthday is February 13th, which I feel like he got gypped on because the next day is Valentine's Day. We are not going to celebrate it in February because February is chaotic for us. And you got Valentine's Day, and it's just going to make it too crazy. So we are going to celebrate his birthday the week of our wedding anniversary, which also happens to be Zoe's spring break from school. We are going to go to New York City for 2 nights. We're going to take the train up on Tuesday. We're going to see a musical on Wednesday and have dinner with some friends that live up there. And then we'll take the train back down Thursday afternoon. So it'll be a nice little getaway. Ian's going to stay here and watch our pups for us while we're gone. We've got it all planned out. The tickets for the train have been bought. The hotel has been booked and paid for, and the Broadway show tickets have been booked. I splurged on the show tickets. It got 3rd row because we went to see Beetlejuice in Richmond, and we got tickets that looked like they would be okay, but they were probably about 2/3 of the way back and all the way on the right, and it was really hard to see the stage. And I was like, listen, if we're going all the way up to New York to see a show, and this is for his birthday, like it's a special occasion, I want to make sure that we can see the show. So there we go. That's what we're doing. All right, all of these are ready for the next side to be put on. And we're going to do this. Oh, no, nope, 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 nope. There's one more. There's always a straggler. Now we're ready to do the next step. So I'm going to start sewing in the bottom corner, and I'm going to make sure that I'm coming up to the corner that's in the middle, keeping one corner underneath the needle and the other corner on that red line of my tape. And away we go. Do you ever use the folded corner clipper? I've tried that. I didn't understand what it was. I know Sean swears by it. And so I used it a little bit. I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing, and I gave it away. And then I realized how it was really supposed to go. So, uh-oh, I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not. The best part of waking up. Sing the next line. Type it in the chat if you know it. Haven't heard that one in a while, huh? Lori says they're going to play bingo. They have birthday specials, then go out for dim sum on Sunday. Awesome. Enjoy. As Folgers in your cup. Yep. There you go. You guys knew. There's your earworm for the week. You're welcome. Joni says maybe Ian could charge a yard of fabric in Tula for house sitting while you're gone. I mean, maybe. Also, he gave me for Christmas, you guys. Love him. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. He gave me for Christmas this fat quarter bundle of gray work. I went to go grab a drink of water and I almost pulled up my starch bottle instead. That would not have gone over well. Don't drink the starch, drink the water. Becca says, that was my grandparents' favorite coffee, Folgers, so I've been singing it for years. I don't know why I want to combine the Mentos song and the Folgers song together. The best part of waking up, Mentos, the fresh maker. I don't know why that's in my head, but it is. ADD voices. They never stop. Mint coffee. Wouldn't that be like a peppermint mocha? Huh. Mint coffee. I bet that's really good. I mean, I like mint tea. Nice stack of progress. Thank you, Free Spirit. Lance is singing Ice Ice Baby. Great. Thanks for that, earworm, Leanne. Lori's having some mint tea now. Awesome. I'll tell you the best mint tea ever to get, and like not sponsored, but hit a sister up. There is a local tea company about half an hour from here. They are always at the Quilt Expo in Fredericksburg. And when I say always, I mean for the past 5 years, they've been there. Because I started going in 2020. So they're always there. They're always there. They're always there. So they have these tea bags, and they're really big and they don't leak, but they have these tea bags and they put their flavored tea inside of it, and then they put crystallized honey inside there so that the tea is a little sweet, but it's sweetened with oh, it's closed. Okay, I'll pick a winner in just a second. It's sweetened with honey and it's great. Their peppermint tea is to die for. All right, let's pick our first winner. Remember, you have to be here to win. And I'm looking for you to comment in the chat that you are here. So our winner is Designing J. Designing J, please reply in the chat to acknowledge you won, and then you're going to email info@sobecca.com with your physical mailing address to claim your gift. Let's just see if Designing J replies. Yay, she's here, or he. All right, make sure to send an email with your physical mailing address to info@sobecca.com, and we'll get your package out to you this weekend. Let's go ahead and pick another winner from this. Our second winner is Jean E. Moosley. I hope I'm saying that right. Let me know that you're here. Just type something in the chat. Doesn't matter what you type. I've got some software that is looking specifically for a message with your name. We're just waiting to see if you reply. Give you a couple of minutes. All right, she's here. All right, Jean, we need you to also send an email with your physical mailing address to info@sewbecca.com, and we will get your package out in the mail to you. And we're going to pick one more, and it's 9:30, so I feel like I'm going to call it a night at this point. I've got a lot of homework to do over the course of the weekend, but I'm ready to be relaxing in front of the TV and doing some more hand stitching. I was working on some binding before the live stream, and I want to get that finished. So let's pick one more winner. It is Karen Cox. Karen Cox, please reply in the chat to let me know that you are here. Karen. Karen, Karen, ooh, Karen. Karen, I guess I could be stitching while I'm waiting for Karen to reply. We'll give her a couple of minutes. Oh, there it is. Yay, Karen. All right, send me an email with your physical mailing address to info@sewbecca.com, and we'll get a mystery package out in the mail to you. So, all right. Recap. This week we are working on making the sawtooth starts, which are going to go in the center of the blocks for the star cabins quilt. Next week we will have our star blocks all pieced, one for every single block that we're going to make, and we're going to start putting layers around it to turn it into a log cabin. And then the week after we'll put it together, and the week after we'll quilt it. Over the course of January, I am uploading a video every Tuesday that's teaching the fundamentals of sewing. So if you want to brush up on some of your skills, maybe revisit those and see if you can pick up a tip or trick or two, that would be lovely. I'd appreciate the support. But if you have a loved one that has been interested in starting to learn how to sew, maybe they've got a sewing machine that's just been sitting there collecting dust, and this is the year that they have determined to pull it out and brush it off, pass the series along to them. I hope they'll find it helpful. And I'll give Alicia a little bit of credit here because she's the one that inspired that. So thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye, friends.